I'm Michael Briggs, and today we are going to be starting a fire. So you could either collect sticks, little sticks, probably the size of your pinky, or I'm just going to try and chop this into little pieces. So we'll start there, and we'll get tinder afterward. Turned that one log into quite a few logs. So we have a nice pile of kindling there. Normally you could just scrape up this tinder off the ground. Today that is not going to be an option. It is soaked. Even where there's no snow, it's soaked. So what we're going to end up doing is, if you can see all these pine needles that get caught on shrubs and stuff, I'm just going to be collecting that as my tinder. Something that can also help us start this fire is pine sap. So we'll just scrape some off, and it can hold a flame pretty good. You can see here, it's like a resinous sap. And since it's cold out, it's not getting all over my fingers. So I'll just probably collect some of that, collect these drops. So I'll probably have to shave a little bit of this off here. Okay, so got a handful of that sap. I'm gonna go get it off, put it onto a board, because it's starting to stick to my hand. Have our resinous sap. We've got our kindling and our tinder. Now we need the fuel. So this is generally going to be branches underneath of a tree, like those, lower down, and just ones that haven't been sitting on the ground that are all wet. So we'll go find some of those. Resin. So the next thing I did was took all of the sticks I got off of those trees, and they actually turned out to be pretty wet. So I've put them around the fire, and the heat from the fire should start to dry them out, and then it can use them as fuel. once it gets rid of the water. So we have a pretty good base going. Thank goodness, thanks to that pine sap. That really was a saver there. Even with matches, this was a tough fire to start. So, you know, it's worth taking the extra time to collect that pine sap. Okay, so about 5 minutes later, 5-10 minutes later, it is starting to get actually warm now. And you can see there's coals in the middle from that kindling. However, kind of like I was saying, this stuff was very wet, so it's still drying. I don't really know if it's even on fire. Okay, so I kind of took down that teepee because these sticks weren't drying enough, and we were running out of kindling. So I've never had it before, but they were so wet when I was breaking these sticks to shove them in further. I was burned, not by the stick, but by the steam coming out from the inside. So that kind of gives you an idea of how wet they were. But I've just kind of been stoking the coals to get these guys burning. So you can just blow like a lung full of air on the fire and it'll go out, and then it'll come back stronger than it was. So I've just been doing that, try and get these wet sticks to dry out and burn. Starting a fire in a snowy forest, not the easiest task. It's just, it looks like it would be dry in here. It's just absolutely drenched though, so what can you do? So now I'm just attempting to heat up my lunch. It's just some leftovers from last night. Whew, it's hot. Ow, it's hot. Kind of old. This isn't leftover from last night. Must be from like a week ago. It's warm though.